Hey there, it's Rusty Nelson, your college art professor, and we're talking watercolor today. So let's see here. It's vlog 72, episode 35. I think it's about time I got to update my vlog thumbnail for YouTube. It's just been, I think it's been about a year since I've done that. So yeah, some things happening. Let's see. I've been, I know what it was. Welcome, new viewers. Welcome, existing viewers, returning viewers, all of you who are coming in here. I'm Rusty Nelson, a college art professor who will soon be retiring. What? In May, I believe. I think that's my last semester. So it's closing in. It's coming to an end, and I started this channel about a year and 9 months ago for for me to have something to do in retirement. I want to continue teaching, and I thought the internet and YouTube would be a good venue for me to continue bringing lessons to people who are interested in learning how to draw and to paint with watercolor. Started out with the idea of watercolor, but soon discovered that drawing was a very hot topic as well in this genre. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and 9 months, kind of providing these free lessons. It's the same stuff I do in my college art courses, be it my drawing foundation drawing course, observational drawing, figure drawing. I teach an intro to watercolor. I teach illustration. These days, the illustration class is pretty much completely digital, done with iPads or on a computer with graphics tablets. But I do teach a watercolor intro course for non-majors. So they are really coming in at the base level, at scratch, and we get them up to speed and working with watercolor within 15 weeks. So that's kind of the set of lessons and plans and everything I'm bringing to YouTube for everybody to look at. So if you're new to the channel, that's what we're doing. And those of you who have returned, you've heard this spiel so many times. But again, I'm doing this talking head here just as a means to put in reps and practice getting on camera. It's such a foreign thing to do. Getting started those first few weeks and months, sitting here at my drafting table, talking to a camera it's very foreign. And trust me, I spent the last 25, 28 years up at the university avoiding being on camera at any point. But COVID kind of changed that. And the whole idea with our major, I teach in graphic design, was that we had to start doing more stuff online. So we started doing the training for online delivery, and right about that point, COVID hit, and all of a sudden we were all teaching everything online, and that kind of got me going and started in this process. And then I had a senior level course where I was really doing some research on social media and what the different platforms are good for, and really discovered that YouTube was the place to be if you wanted to do educational content. So, and I just love watercolor. I thought that would be a great thing. Bring that love and that fine experience of painting with watercolor to others who are interested in it. And like I said, discovered that drawing was also a hot topic, especially drawing people. So started doing content with figures and faces and things like that. And it's been a lot of fun. So been growing a lot, having a lot of fun there. Been challenged this last week. I think I mentioned in my previous talking watercolor that my wife had undergone hip surgery, and I've been hustling around this week, kind of helping her out and toting and fetching for her as her hip is in recovery mode. So she had a kind of a rough day right after the day after surgery, mainly because of the anesthesia. It was bothering her stomach. She couldn't keep anything down for about 24 hours. So, but after that, she was able to keep food down and continue taking the meds that helped with the pain. She didn't have a terrible amount of pain, but enough that Tylenol 3, I think that's all the rougher, the powerful stuff she didn't mess with, the narcotics. So anyway, that's what I've been doing and trying to survive that. I think my hips, I live in a split level house, and I've got like 4 levels. And I've been going up and down a lot of stairs myself, and my hip and my knees are starting to bark at me a little bit because I've had to traverse those stairs probably 3 times the amount that I normally do. So we're in that mode right now, still trying to survive. I'm barely getting this recorded to post. I have to, as soon as I get done, I got to edit it and get it posted for Wednesday. So let's see here. Oh, I did drop a new figure watercolor tutorial, and it was a real quick, just a study, just something I didn't really. I think I mentioned in it. I used just essentially the blocking and the shape method to get the figure sketched up based on the photographic reference I was using from Pinterest. So it wasn't a real high detailed sketch, fairly loose, and then just coming in and dropping in the colors and just playing with it. Just this quick study, just to kind of get and this was an action pose as well. It wasn't a static figure or anything. So it was a walking pose. So there was a lot of flow, a lot of fabric in this as well. So it was a kind of a fun little tutorial to do. So if you haven't seen it, get out there and look at that. And it's one of those things that just get a bunch of different figures doing different things and just practice with your watercolor to block them in and make them look expressive and full of action and weight and the motion that you want to capture and add into your watercolors. So do a lot of them. That's the main secret to any of this. The watercolor, the drawing, the faces, the figures, the landscapes, the trees, all of it. It's just a matter of practice and refining and finding that sensitivity to your mark making and seeing the shapes and being able to add the right colors, the right tones, the right values to those shapes for them to read properly. So that's essentially, boy, I've been touting that even with my observational drawing course this semester, that we're still just working with fundamental primitive shapes and just trying out different mark making methods for capturing various textures and plein air analysis. We've drawn crumpled bags and paper and fabrics, different type of drapes and draping fabrics in their exercises. So we are proceeding along with that, and that's a lot of fun as well. I think they're really starting to get the hang of it with value control and their mark making. So we've been working on that. Some of the comments, just really more comments about the colors and things that I'm using. Color mixing seems to be a something that a lot of people are really interested in, and or why the decisions I make with color. And that is a complicated subject. I have a colleague who's actually been researching and writing a book all on just basic color theory and color application and things like that. So it is a subject worthy of that amount of research and commentary on. So, but essentially, work up a color wheel. Start with your primary colors and introduce and mix them together to get your secondary colors, and then also work in and go to the tertiary, and then you can start introducing the shade and the tints into it and really start understanding the notion and the use of those 3 primary colors to come up with any host of all the other colors that could possibly be needed. And you can do it with just those 3 colors, black and white, to give you a full range of colors. A lot of mixing there. And that's why they pre-mix a lot of the various colors so that you don't have to do quite as much mixing. And there is a gamut issue, I'm sure, of what colors can be mixed with just those 3 colors. So some of the more exotic colors, they have to be processed and found in nature or synthetically to come up with some of those colors that aren't in the color gamut of red, yellow, and blue. So, I remember learning a lot about colors when I first started working as a graphic designer. I had to give some reports and some lessons to non-artists in a setting. So we were learning about, CMYK colors versus RGB colors versus red, yellow, blue colors, hue, value, saturation, all those things. This is all when the technology was coming online. And it can be very confusing. You got additive colors, you got subtractive colors. And so getting in there and starting to talk about gamut and the range of colors that are possible with 3 colors, be it RGB or red, yellow, blue, CMYK. And you can see color has a broad range of directions you can take it. So, but when you're watercoloring, just build that color wheel. That's going to be your best bet. Keep in mind, again, that harmonious colors are any 5 touching colors on the color wheel. And if you use those 5 colors together, you will not mix mud. The only time you're going to start getting your mud introduced and things starting getting kind of grungy looking is when you introduce the complementaries, when you go directly across the color wheel from the color you're working with and you introduce that. That's when you can start getting those neutrals and those what you call muddy colors in there. So, but muddy colors are very useful because that nice neutral palette, when you pop color into it, boy, that colors are really going to stand out, and you can really use that to a nice effect in your composition. So, oh yeah, a lot of color. I'm planning on maybe doing another really little demo on color theory again coming up. It's nothing you have to get that deep into the weeds over as you're getting started, just as long as you can kind of start understanding. I think the biggest question is when to use the cool colors versus the warm colors. And again, it's all a matter of depends on what you're doing at that moment. So I think it's warranting another video, I think, coming up very soon. So, but other than that, me nursing my wife, trying to survive and still sound somewhat coherent on camera. The semester is proceeding. We're week 5 already. I can't believe that. 15 weeks, 10 more weeks after this week, and it'll be a holiday break, and we're all going to be eating turkey and opening Christmas presents. So, but I've talked for almost 15 minutes, and I do appreciate you watching and tuning in. If you got any value out of this little visit, please give me a like and a subscribe. Share it out to somebody if you think they might be interested in learning how to draw and to paint in watercolor. Get them going as well. You need a buddy to take along with you when you go out to find some subjects and stuff. So if you're interested in more resources on my website, I have a ton of links that'll take you into my website to download Riley and Loomis and Bridgman figure drawing references and stuff. And I got a bunch of affiliate links on supplies and tools in the video description as well. If you use those links, I'll get a small commission from Amazon if you do buy anything. I have a 15-week calendar. It's essentially project and exercise ideas on a weekly basis. I think I've got it set up for 3 days of the week for 15 weeks, different projects and exercises designed and essentially what I use and do with my students in class to get them from absolute beginner up to an intermediate level person capable of drawing and or working with watercolor. So it's really just a calendar of ideas. It should relate back into some videos. I think the links are in the document as well. So if you go over to Gumroad, you can you can buy and download that 15-week calendar and go open it up, open your PDF up, click on the links, and that'll take you right to the videos in my YouTube channel. So do that. I would appreciate it. And if you think I'm doing anything on this channel worthy of financial support, head over to Patreon and give me a $5 a month membership. And again, I know I've been promising this forever, but it's about to happen. I'm going to start doing some live streams. That'll be one of the perks for $5 a month membership on Patreon. So, hey, I do appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Talking Watercolor.